Andy Johnson. We are looking at this meaning-based reading intervention. This is a pilot program based on the idea that reading is creating meaning with print, not sounding out words. The focus of this intervention is on meaning making. That means that when we have word study activities, they are found within meaningful context to the greatest extent possible. It is to develop all three cueing systems, and I'll show you about that in a minute, but this is for level 1, this particular one. Struggling readers in grades 1 or 2. It can be used for general remediation or for RTI tiers 1 and 2. A little more intensity, it could be used for tier 3 as well. Now again, the brain uses 3 cueing systems to identify words during reading. Traditional interventions focused only on phonics. This one seeks to develop all 3 cueing systems, semantic, syntax, and phonics. The activities here are short, briskly paced, 2 to 8 minutes in duration. The entire intervention takes 12 to 25 minutes a day. It is an intervention, not a program or a curriculum. It's meant to enhance existing programs and curriculums. The purpose is to develop the neural pathways that are used to create meaning with print to enhance students' ability to create meaning, not sounding out words. Sounding out words is only one small part of reading. Now, the 10 vowel sounds are used as organizing structures. Within each vowel sound, there are 40 to 50 total lessons, 4 lessons plus 1 optional with each vowel sound. With each vowel sound, we focus on the most common phonograms or letter patterns, as well as consonants and consonant blends. So the vowel sounds are used simply as organizing structures. As always, adopt and adapt. You know your students. If some activities don't work for you, don't do it. Add others. Keep it positive. This can be used for individual or small group instruction. You decide. Use a computer or a large screen of some sort. Some activities are paper-based, and I'll show you those, but most are on PowerPoint to enable you to quickly move from one activity to the next. Progress monitoring, a couple of ideas here. You've got a simple pre-post for word identification. The first vowel sound we'll look at is the short A. So pre-assessment, you've got your 16 words, and then post to see if they identify more words at the post. So see if there's any effect. Very simple, not too complicated there. Pre-post. Also, some form of a running record, a graded reader. Use the same one pre-post. You can do this every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. Give you a sense of if the student is able to identify more words. Use the same piece of text pre and post. Other types of assessment, and you see them there. We won't cover that too much here because I want to show you what the program consists of. Lesson 1, day 1. These are just short A. You can see the activities there. Language experience approach. Small group or individually. Dictate to the teacher. What do you want to tell me about? What's going on? What did you do yesterday? Students dictate a minimum of 5 sentences, and you write them down on a board, a poster, or a computer screen, I recommend, so they can see the words appearing in front of them. And you see me here doing this with an actual student. Once you have your 5 sentences, students reread until fluency is achieved. Now they're reading their words and about their experiences. So it makes learning to read easier. Usually it takes about twice to achieve fluency. And then you use short, simple analytic phonics. Can you find the b word in line 2? Can you find the ch word in line 3? Save the stories, date them. We use them again for reading practice and analytic phonics on subsequent days. All right, and then word building. Short, simple, focusing on letter patterns, short A. This takes 2 to 6 minutes. You go through them. Gl plus add is. This develops the ability to see letter patterns and letter parts. S, add. And you go through all of them rather quickly, and then you can reread the short A list. close, and again, to develop the semantic cueing system, I had a dream. Notice that there are short A words in these sentences, meaningful context, but it also develops the ability to use semantics or context to create meaning with print and identify words. And the answers are obvious here, and that's what it should be. We do not need to rely on every single letter or even words. Fluency activities. Individually, these can be done on a computer screen. If you're in small group, you want to have it on paper, and students can do these in pairs. We have a really silly story here. Now, the silly stories have a lot of repeated words and phrases and use a lot of dialogue because that is what is familiar to students. Students read it through 3 times and they stop either at the 30 mark or the 40 word mark, and they each have a designated time. And you time them each time. The purpose of this is to enhance your ability to process words and letters quickly. All right, it's like practicing scales in music. So they read it through the first time, you time it, write it down, second and third time. And then the student records their times on their graph, and they can see their times getting faster each time. So this is very empowering, develops self-efficacy. If I practice, I can get better, and you have some progress monitoring there. You are recording fluency times. And then comprehension questions. And there are different activities here, and these are all used with the Dandelion Launcher series. Great books, reinforce short vowel sounds, very picture-driven text. Here's an example. Pre-post, which of these are true? You go through these declarative sentences, and as they read, they have to decide yes or no, did this happen? And yes, and then the page number, Tim sat, and the page number, Tim hit, nope, that didn't happen. So you're reading through these as a pre-reading activity, so they know as they're reading, they're looking for these things. And then either during or after, they fill out the chart. Now, we can have a paper chart like this, but to keep things moving, I put it on the computer screen here. Day 2, LEA again, starts out with that. Word discrimination. They have to point to and find the short A. And when I'm doing it individually, they actually put their finger up and point to the word and say pad, map. This enables them to quickly find the short A word and to say it. And if you're doing it in small group, that needs to be fixed there. They can either turn to a buddy or you can say it in a large group. Maze, again, semantic cueing system. He had a blank day at school, and you read these together, or if they can read it individually, that's fine. And then he had a bad day. They see it, find the right word, check for understanding, metacognition, and then they reread the sentence by themselves. These reinforce the short A sound and develop the semantic cueing system at the same time. Fluency, same as before. You've seen that before. And then comprehension and a lot of different activities. Now, at this level, grade 1, a lot of comprehension activities are focused on sentence level comprehension. Tim blank sit. Yes, now this is related to the story that they read. Sam can blank. This is again related to the story that they read. All right, so this is a post-reading activity. Again, another one, sentence mix-up. This can be done in paper, but to make things quickly, I've put it on the PowerPoint. A mixed-up sentence related to the story that they just read. Can you tell me what makes sense here? Down, Tam will sit. Tam will sit. These activities focus on comprehension, metacognition doesn't make sense, but also the syntactic cueing system, grammar and word order. It helps develop that. Lesson 3. Again, you see the activities. LEA, yes. And then word wall riddle review. Now you can actually have these words on a wall someplace. That's fine, and have riddles. That's always good. A lot of sponge activities. Not happy. Which one means not happy? Yes, sad, and they find it from the word wall on the right-hand side of the screen. Not good, very good. It's a riddle. It's a riddle. And then sentence mix-up. Again, I'm reinforcing the short A sound. These all have a short A sound in them, but also develops the syntactic cueing system. Ran away the cat. The cat. And usually by this point they can figure out what the complete sentence is. Syntactic cueing system and reinforce the short A. So they're seeing short A words in a meaningful context. And here's another one, eat like I like, and you get the idea. All right? Fluency, we've seen that before, either their 30-word target or their 40-word target. And you can see the 30 and the 40-word targets both there. Recording the time. Students should do this, keep their own graph. And then comprehension, we've seen the pre-post comprehension, we've seen that before. And then the phonemic phonics hybrid activities. This is interesting. It's a hybrid. Phonemic awareness means you hear, and phonics means you see. So students hear 3 words, and they're asked to identify which word does not belong here. Example, bad, bet, and hip. Hip does not belong because the other 2 begin with the H sound. Which word is not like the others? Which word doesn't belong? They hear the 3 words, and we're focusing on beginning sounds, so they hear the 3 words. I read them out loud, and they're written on a sheet of paper for you. Then they see them. They have identified here, though, that 1 word doesn't belong there, and it's hip. Yes, hip doesn't belong because the other 2 have beginning sounds. So they hear, they identify, then they see, and they read through them together. Bad, bet, hip. Phonics, phonemic, hybrid. There are 3 of these for middle sounds as well. They hear the 3 words, identify the one that doesn't belong there. They see the 3, and then they read them. Men does not belong because the other 2 have the ah. Notice how I'm reinforcing short A. There's a short A word in each one of these. And then ending sounds. They hear them, they identify which one doesn't belong, they see, and they read. That's a hybrid. Sentence replay. This should be a paper activity. Students see 3 to 6 sentences and start with 3 and see how that works. They read these sentences into a recorder of some sort. Now they can do this with a buddy or a para or a teacher. They play back and they identify stumble words, words that they didn't get just right or they stumbled on somehow. Then they review those, reread it a second time, and they underline any stumble words they had the second time. And usually it takes no more than 3 times for them to be able to read the 6 sentences without any stumbles. Replay. Read it, analyze it, do it again, analyze it. Usually 2 or 3 times. Sentence replay. Notice all of these have short A words in them. I'm reinforcing short A within meaningful contexts. Fluency, we've seen that. Comprehension, maze, focusing on comprehension at the sentence level. These are all post-reading activities. Sentence mix-up, again, post-reading. These are all related to the story. And then the 5th day lesson, the 5th lesson is optional. All right, and some teachers like to do something totally different, but here are some activities. And again, LEA review. Review the past 4 stories that you've written. Reread them for fluency, reading practice. They can do this individually or with a partner. And then you can review for analytic phonics. Phonemic phonic hybrid, same thing with beginning sounds. This time you have to identify what's the same about them. So they hear the 3 words, listening for beginning sounds. They identify what's the same. They see, and then they read. Same with middle sounds. They hear the words, identify the similarity. They see, and then they reread until fluency. Same with ending sounds. Hear, identify, see, read. Hybrid. Sentence dictation. Either with a study buddy or the teacher reads a sentence to the students. Students write the sentence, tell them not to worry about spelling. After the sentence is written, ask them to look for words that do not look right. And students can identify, usually about 95% of the time, words that are incorrectly spelled. The teacher shows the sentence. The student crosses out the incorrect spelling and writes the correct spelling on top. I like them to see both the incorrect and the correct. So that's why I have them draw a line and write the correct spelling on top. They skip a line and then go to the next. And what I do is after the first one, they write it, identify words that don't look right, then they see the sentence, and I show it on the screen like this, and they make any correction. And again, you notice that these are short, simple sentences, don't want to frustrate the student, and they all have short A words in them. Sentence dictation, keep it simple. And a word sort. This is interesting. There are 16 total words here, and you can use fewer if you want. You can use 8 or 10, however many. And these are on paper, so you would actually cut them out, or you could have students cut them out. This is great if they work in pairs or small groups, by the way. And then you mix them up and have them create groups. A group is 2 or more things that are the same somehow. So they could go short A, short E groups. They could do that. But then they could look at beginning letters, ending letters, and then finally, semantic groups, meaning things that you can see, things that you can't see, alive things, not alive things. So you're going from vowel sounds to letters or letter patterns, beginning to ending, to semantics. Keep it fun, interesting. One activity helps them to begin to identify and notice letter patterns. And then priming picture. This can be done orally or written. You show them a picture and you say, tell me what's going on. What do you want to say about this? What's happening here? And eventually, maybe they might just tell you or turn to a neighbor. But initially they'll do that. Eventually you want to get them writing one sentence to describe what's going on here. Now I recommend that you begin taking your own pictures of students or playgrounds or things around the town. I live in Mankato, and what I often do is just go to the Google and look for Mankato pictures water tower or something like that, common images. Or I'll go to and look for students of a similar age doing something. And I ask students, tell me about this. What do you want to say? What's going on? And they'll either write or say. All right, short A. And that is a short, quick overview on the meaning-based invention. There's 4 lessons, and the 5th one is optional. There are 40 to 50 total lessons.